And we're live. Here I am with Vincent, who's practically my streaming partner. You'll remember me with him many times discussing a whole range of subjects, usually to do with sexual mores. And you have more ideas about increasing the sexual liberation of humanity, do you?
Yes, yeah, uh-huh.
And you're saying that it's eugenic, and I suppose the rule of nature is that you are selective in order to be eugenic, and less selective in order to be well. Maybe you don't deliberately want to be dysgenic, but the effect of increasing sexual liberation is degeneracy and dysgenics. I suppose you're aware of that connection too, aren't you,
Um,
Vincent?
it depends on what your plans are. So, this is not necessarily my idea. I've evolved it, and I may have, in some degrees, yeah, I evolved it. So I go back to the birth control movement. That has affected my life more than almost anything else. And it's where I got started in eugenics mostly. And it has affected me. And of course, my the woman that I idolize and who is my greatest teacher on these things was Margaret Sanger.
Right, and why do you idolize her?
Well, because she was very intelligent and she did something very intelligent and very difficult. And it was for eugenics and had a eugenic effect. So here
So,
was
so she. Please, could you explain what she actually did, or what her achievement was, as far as you're concerned?
well, she provided birth control to the world.
Is that eugenic though?
Yes, because so here where the theory of the birth control eugenicist was also included Marie Stopes, who was a scientist who opened up birth control in Britain. You must have heard of Marie Stopes Institute over there, right?
Yeah, yeah. They have well pregnancy clinics,
Yes. Well, she was a
possibly.
eugenicist. She was a radical eugenicist. Um, and they both had this conviction that birth control would be eugenic. So this is what the idea was, that during that time, the productive classes had very few children and the dependent classes had very many. And so society looked like this, like a triangle with so many few people at the top and then so many people at the bottom. So she said, if we offer birth control, everybody would be having less children. So what she said is that the productive classes would have small families as they always had, but the dependent classes would have small families as well. So society would start looking more like a vertical rectangle than like a pyramid, and there would be less people that we needed to take care of. And that's exactly what has happened. People don't have 8 kids anymore. People living in poverty don't have 11 children. It just doesn't happen in the civilized world or in the Western world. And
But hasn't the point been made that the next generation, it is the current generation's pension, or that they are the future, and how they are parented and therefore conceived would have some influence on the future of the nation.
well,
And
the
if you have
idea,
fewer and fewer people, what you have is a senescent society, an aging society, and a feminized society, making it more vulnerable to its internal and external enemies.
um, the idea of divorcing, separating reproduction from sex is that you are able to precisely guide breeding. These were feminists who promoted this. And one of the things that they said, which is true, is that before birth control um, and with less feminism, a woman had to take what she could get because she had to get married in order to be taken care of, and there weren't a lot of great men around, and she wouldn't have time to test out the waters. She wouldn't have time to get to know them or see if it's a good sexual match or things like that, and that the delaying of the birth would allow her to make better choices in life, make better choices. Now, I do understand the problem. Here's the problem about what you said about invasion. The problem is that conservatives got in the way of the eugenic birth control movement. Instead of spreading sexual liberation and birth control, now the thing is, birth control and sexual liberation are mutually enforcing. If you have birth control, you have sexual liberation. If you have sexual liberation, you want more birth control. So it reinforces itself. If we had promoted birth control in sexual world, then we wouldn't have the Muslim world large and the Western world small. And so we wouldn't be having those types of problems.
Yeah, but I mean, there was a reason why marriage as an institution is universally practiced by, any advanced civilization, because, in the cutthroat world of imperialism and national rivalry, the nation that has a low birth rate will end up being invaded and conquered.
Well, okay, but no, it was your fault, your people's fault, because you fought the birth control movement. Conservatives fought the birth control movement. So it only went so far as the West. So because of people like you, birth control only was in the West. If you had just gotten out of the way and had allowed us to promote birth control and sexual liberation all around the planet instead of just constantly fighting with us so we only got it here, that wouldn't be a problem. That wouldn't be a problem. It's your fault that we are in this situation.
Well, I think you must know that Japan went on the pill a few decades ago, and it's now suffering from a shrinking birth rate. And, well, China too. Apparently, they're dismayed at the low birth rate, even though they've been trying very hard to cancel their one-child policy. And they found to their horror that a lot of Chinese parents are, happy with just one, or don't think they can cope with two. So
yes, Japan, I'm hoping will reverse that. I think that as they really begin to plummet in their numbers, that will change. I think that at least they're concerned about it now. South Korea has the same problem. They're having too few children. So they are trying to promote childhood reproduction in the country. But as you said, for stable families, again, I promote polygamy. I just say that we should have families, but they should just be with multiple partners, more people to raise the children, more incomes. So these children would be properly raised. And I think it's better to be raised by more people because it cancels out the negative traits of each other. I mean,
well, is it quite safe? I mean, you hear so much about child sexual abuse.
I know, but you keep bringing this. You're acting like I'm going to have some single drug addicted mother with the drug addicts coming up into the house to get drugs from her. I'm talking about people that are intelligent, that have joined a polygamous marriage and union, and are together raising children in a healthy and safe environment. I'm not
How
talking.
intelligent is it to to do this sort of thing, though? Hmm.
What makes you think it's unintelligent?
Well, this idea of polyamory. I mean, we don't. There's no track record of arrangements of this sort of lasting very long, because eventually people start getting jealous and walk out, and
Well,
and
that's what we want to breed out. And also, I have changed my tune in that I'm saying not everyone should practice polygamy, because there does need to be polygamy will reduce a little bit of the genetic variation in families or in between certain groups. So I think that we should still have monogamy for genetic diversity. But also what I'm saying is that polygamous families should gain control of society by making large marriage systems. So they're all working together. They have more money. They can have more children because they're polygamous, and to simply outbreed the monogamous. And the idea is you want to do this in free love. You want to find people who are not jealous, who are not.
so really, you're kind of telling your fellow Americans that maybe becoming a Mormon would be a good idea, right?
Well,
Is that what
Mormons
you're
don't
saying?
practice polygamy, but no, I do not encourage Mormon polygamy. I encourage liberal polygamy. I mean, one man, many women, many women, many men, many men and many women, one woman, many men. This is
What's wrong with Mormon polygamy? You don't like their religious background, is that it?
well, yeah, no, I don't like the conservatism of that group.
Right, but don't you think, you do need a certain kind of discipline to enforce polygamy? I mean, in the
Not
animal
enforced.
kingdom,
Not
I mean,
you
it's
guys
like
need to
it's
stop
hard on
doing
the
this.
male.
No,
It's
and
like you
not
have to fight
enforced.
everyone.
And for not enforced, you guys need to stop doing this. You need to stop talking about camps and dictatorships and Hitler and forcing
I
none of that.
haven't. I'm talking about stags and
None of that
harem.
applies to me. I'm talking
But
about
the same principle. It's like
no, it's
okay.
democracy. These people are choosing to join a polygamous marriage. They're not being forced.
I know, but okay, they think it's a good idea until it blows up in their faces. I mean, there must have been a reason why people gave it up, and
No, it got polygyny got given up because we became more civilized and everyone wanted a wife. It was no longer the brute took everything or the
yeah,
most
because
intelligent.
society is more stable that way. Because if you let the Chads get all the women, then there'll be a bunch of incels, and they'll be sort of rapey and angry and bitter and
Oh yeah, I think I would okay. I know that the ancient system was not the best, but I suggest a more practical system where, first of all, let anyone who's gay, don't make any kind of gay, liberate the society from any pressure not to be gay, any pressure not to be gay. So get all those men out of the system, get all the gays out. They're not looking for women, get them all out. Then you allow the women to practice free love. So, I mean, the men are getting sex, but there's only fewer men reproducing. There's fewer men reproducing, but the men who are left over, who are heterosexual, the women are allowed to practice free love. So, they're allowed to have boyfriends and stuff like that.
but the men won't put up with it, will they?
Why? They have so many wives. No, I'm talking about people that
They
want
can't support all these
the
wives.
women work. We're talking about modern day polygamy, not caveman polygamy. The women would be working.
So, do you know? Do you know any group
I'm
do you know
promoting this as a
anybody
new.
like that? Do you know anybody in that
Oh,
sort
I
of
know polygamy.
arrangement, or is
I
it
don't
just something out of
know.
your head?
I don't know any polygamists in real life, but I know them online. I've met polygamists online. Yes.
Well, maybe you should do some proper research and interview at them. I think that they're
No,
just sort of.
why you're acting like Claire. I mean, this is not the first time that society has practiced polygamy.
I know I've heard of menage a trois and all that kind of thing, but it's unusual, and it tends not to be very
Okay, that's why
stable because people get jealous.
it's only for the eugenic polygamous elite. People like you should not have a lot of breeding going on. Okay, you shouldn't be able to expand your numbers. You should not be able to make large marriage systems to get support. You should be encouraged to be monogamous so there's fewer of you and you have less contacts, and that's the way it should be, and leave the breeding to us and we'll eventually take over.
Sorry, to us. Who is us? You're gay, so I guess.
So it doesn't mean I can't have kids. I can be in a gay polygamous system and still have children.
Yeah, but then it'd be such a complicated arrangement. So what
It
you're gonna?
wouldn't be. It wouldn't be complicated. We're all gay men. There's we're more polygamous than you are. Than
You mean
heterosexual.
more promiscuous, surely?
No, because we don't have to worry about children, and you can have polyfidelity. That means that you're
What is
loyal.
polyfidelity?
You're loyal to the 5 or 6 men you're married to. It's called polyfidelity.
Okay.
You're acting like this never happens. I think that gay men should come together in polygamous unions so that they have more money, more connections, and that they should buy up all the women as surrogates, let them practice free love. We don't care who they have sex with. and yeah, just dominate the breeding pool. That's what I think should
But you
happen.
said that you're gay, so why would you be spending money on
So
these
what?
women?
So what? I want, because I'm a eugenicist.
But it's not eugenic. You'll just bring on degeneracy and the collapse of your society with these weird arrangements that people will, they won't know how to cope with things, and then they'll
You
probably
don't know how to
kill
cope with
each
things.
other in
No,
terrible
you
incidents of
that's what
domestic
you would do.
violence.
That's what you would do. You blame me for, you tried to say I'm going to open camps because that's what you would
I've
do.
never even mentioned that. Are you going to be opening
Or
camp?
damut, or whatever you were, or forcing people. These are all things that you would do, Claire. Claire, you're such a
I
fucking
didn't do
asshole.
anything
No,
of the
you would
sort.
never be able to be in a polygamous system because you're an asshole.
Nonsense. I mean, I would put up with polygamy of up to four wives. I mean, for men.
Oh yeah, that's right. In Islam. So if Islam has polygamy, what's your problem?
Yeah, but at least it's an orderly kind of polygamy, and it still says, well, the ideal is monogamy, but if you really must have more than one wife, these are the conditions, and you must be fair to them, and be able to provide for them, and only up to four, mind. It's like, well,
Claire,
and the thing is, most men can't afford more than one, and
Claire,
don't have the energy.
you have a spammer in the chat that's just,
Oh gosh, I wasn't even looking at it. Huh.
Tiffany, I'm not saying I would try to outbreed people like Claire and outdo her with a large family so that I have more social contacts and more power, and different polygamous families could marry into each other, and therefore we would have bonds over the children, and we could really have a lot of get somewhere.
But where do you come up with these ideas?
It's, well, it's
Did you read
logic.
science fiction or something?
No, it's just logic. It's logic. It's logic. And because look, if society, monogamy was enforced on people, if we had allowed it to evolve naturally without any type of pressure, this is probably what would have happened.
What would have happened?
That there would be more polygamous arrangements.
Right, but then there would be more incels. I mean, that is, basically the
No,
problem.
they
And
would
the
just
crime
marry.
rate will
Then
increase.
marry. If you're an incel, marry. No, there wouldn't be an incel. Marry into a multiple woman, multiple male family. You don't need to be an incel. And no, I'm not just promoting polygyny. You would take men out of the system by gay polygamy, and then there's a glut of women, so there would be no incels. And with birth control, they can
There
have
won't
sex
be a
with them.
lot of women. Are you saying that your arrangement is going to cause more more women to be born than men?
No, my
I mean,
system
how
is
do you
going.
know?
My system is going to take all the gay guys out of it. So there's a lot of gay guys not marrying women. So there's a glut. So the incels. I don't want the incels breeding though. I want the women to be on birth control so that only certain men breed with them, and the other men are kept quiet through free love.
Right. So what is the purpose of this arrangement? Is it to create more incels who will become gay, so you will have a wider
No,
choice of
it's
sex
eugenics.
partner?
No, it's eugenics. It's to make sure that only the best of males are breeding. That's the point of it, is to create a better race.
So and who would you classify as a better quality male? Just somebody who's more attractive and that's it?
No, Claire,
Just
I
have to
mean,
look
yeah,
good?
thanks for just assuming I'm so, I'm so shallow like that. I mean, I don't know what kind of vibe you think I give off, that I would
Well,
just go,
but being gay is being part of the cult of
no,
youth
oh,
and beauty.
you think I want a bunch of pretty dumb
Yes.
jerks. You think I
Well,
want,
yeah, because they're easy to have sex with, right?
okay, Claire.
Well,
No,
what do you want? I do. You want what middle-aged
intelligence,
men who are
emotional intelligence, beauty, emotional intelligence, mental intelligence, a good personality, good physique, everything that is necessary, competent, capable, proven track record accomplishments, things like that.
Yeah, and then they're gay, and then they don't have children. But you're saying yes, can they be gay and have children?
Yeah.
How is that going to work?
You just buy surrogates. Claire, you are very you're very like, you're not able to make logical conclusions. Like surrogacy has existed forever, and you're acting like, how on earth is a gay man going to have kids? Like as if the idea of gay men having surrogates like has never crossed anyone's mind across the whole earth.
Well,
I mean,
I know it's being practiced now with Elton John and his partner, but you
yeah.
know,
So just why are you acting like it's impossible for gay men to have kids?
I'm saying that this arrangement, you know, the success of this kind of arrangement is not obvious, and you know, we don't know what kind of
Well,
kid
monogamy
is
is
going
not
to
obvious.
grow
People
up
don't
to.
monogamy. If you enforce monogamy, eventually it's just going to lead to more divorce and hypocrisy and sex outside of marriage. Anytime you enforce monogamy on the population, they're going to get tired of it and they're going to fight against it, and then free love will come back into society. So I'm
Well,
saying,
they could always cheat. Yes, I
I
suppose
know,
that
no,
people.
but they will fight. Eventually, there'll be a revolution, a cultural revolution, and people will throw it off. So instead of these constant cultural revolutions against enforced monogamy, then just encourage stable polygamous families to raise children. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that sounds like a contradiction in terms of stable polygamous. I mean, if you ask Africans, I mean, they'd say, "Oh, well, there's actually a lot of domestic violence and a lot of poisoning of one wife by the
Because they're
another." And
because they're traditional people. I'm not talking about traditional. Claire, you're assuming that I'm going to be doing this with like the scum of the earth. Like it just shows how low you are, that you think everyone is that low. There's plenty of people
well,
that are
who? Okay, so who is your preferred candidate? Who do you think is going to go for your thing and make it work? And you know, obviously, I'm not allowed to
I don't think
participate
all
in
of
it
them, but
because my genes aren't suitable.
I think people that are interested in eugenics and polyamory would be interested. Not the whole world. A intermarried polygamous eugenic cult is what I'm saying.
But you don't even know any real live people who
Okay,
do
but
this
I'm
sort of
just
thing.
starting this out. I'm not there yet, but there's polygamous gay men on, they have a group that I'm in on Facebook. I haven't said I'm looking for them. I can't do a
Yeah,
full
but they just have orgies, right? I mean, if you have a
No, they're
gay.
polyfidelity. They have and who cares if they have orgies? If you're committed, if you have a three-way commitment that we're three together and we're building our family together, it doesn't matter if you have sex outside. And everyone's like, well, I don't care if you have sex with other people. It doesn't matter if you're having orgies.
But the poor kid walking in just to see this gay
No, oh, come
orgy.
on, Claire. See, you're so low. Why would I
What?
do that? Why would I
I'm just
do
thinking of
that?
the poor
Why the
kid.
fuck would I do that, Claire?
I don't
Why the
know.
fuck would I do that? Why are you assuming I would do something like that?
I don't know what you
Yeah,
think.
I
I
know,
mean,
because
your
it's in your
ideas
mind.
are
Because if
so
you were
bizarre.
there, you would do that. That's how you would behave.
Well,
People like
obviously,
you.
you know, if I'm into having orgies, and you know, the kid would be, well, you know, it might, I don't know, walk in or something. I
They can walk
mean,
in on their parents having sex,
yeah,
Claire.
but at least it's their parents, not strangers in their home having
Well,
sex with each other.
I don't see the problem with it, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't really see, I mean, I've had straight, mothers sing, no, I don't see the fucking problem. I don't see it.
Okay, so children would be okay watching adults in their home having sex with
No,
each
I
other.
didn't say that. I don't think it's, just because there's a stranger behind a closed door, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, it sounds most irregular. And
Okay, well, this is, yeah, I'm promoting something new, Claire. Yeah.
But it just sounds strange that you don't think there's enough sexual liberation already.
No, okay, the idea about that is to outbreed you, in that if we get the general population on birth control and sexual liberation, your numbers will plummet and we should outbreed you. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying get all you monogamists on sex. We could be on sex too, but I mean, our idea is to breed more of us, right? And but if the general population is on birth control and sexual liberation, they're not going to be having large families. Look, sexual liberation could be spread in the Muslim world very easily because they're all gay. Just, I mean, they all love gay porn. Just play a bunch of gay porn for them. Give them access to gay porn. When, as I said, I'm a secular liberal and in democracy, but I'm imperialistic in that I believe in enforcing human rights on others, including the Muslim world. So
yes, you want sexual liberation for all of humanity.
So that all of their birth rates are low. Yes.
But I suppose the countries that say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to keep our birth rates up and then we'll invade those gay people next door.
Well, I'm saying while we still have power, I mean, we need to change the dialogue of America, and we need to get a section that is already fanatically for pro-rights to become more militant. And also we would be, replacing them. But we would not have had this problem. We could go in and enforce gay rights on the Muslim world if we wanted to. The thing is getting the population to have the will to do that. But again, it's you people that are in the way, because your thing is stopping it here in the West, and you're preventing us from spreading it to the rest of the world because we're busy fighting you here. Again, this is all your fault.
What is all my fault?
That birth control and sexual liberation is not in the Muslim world. It's your fault because you just sat here and made us waste all our time and energy fighting you here at home rather than letting us spread birth control clinics and sexual liberation.
I'm sure they have the pill in Iran.
Well,
and I'm sure they have gay people in Iran.
They're not using it enough.
Well, they are complaining about a declining birth rate.
Well, then good for Iran, but there's not like that all around the Muslim world.
Well, the pill will cause your birth rate to decline.
Yeah, it will.
And so that is quite effective.
Birth control sexual liberation will make it decline further.
Yeah, and it has already happened, and it's linked to the demand for immigrant labor. Because all the West...
That's very political. We don't need as many immigrants. We don't need as many people anymore. We have so much technology. Everything is built up. But I'm saying, okay, we want to increase the birth rate of the desired population. Okay.
Who are the desired population?
Here's the theory. Your desirable, productive class already has small families. There's nothing you're going to do about that because they're too busy going to school and having a job and trying to get somewhere in the world. And they do not want to have large families. The
middle class
has large families. So if you give everyone birth control, the productive classes will still have small families. The dependent classes will now have small families. And so then you want to increase the birth rate of the productive classes.
So who are you going to classify as the productive classes? It sounds like you're saying the middle classes, right? And when people become affluent, they will always have fewer children for some reason, it seems.
Yeah, that's not a good idea, but it would be the people who the polygamist women would want to be fertilized by the most.
Well, chads.
Not necessarily chads. I mean, you want them to have a good body and a good mind and a good personality and things like that. But
okay,
it would be
well, a good income then.
The women work, Claire.
No, but okay, ideally the woman would think, well, I'd rather not work. I'd rather find a Chad who's got loads of money, so I don't have to
Okay,
work.
how many women is
I
that
mean,
going to work
that's what
out?
she'd be looking for. And he would think, well, I want a woman and I want her to be loyal to me, and I don't, you know,
Well,
one will do.
we can separate reproduction from sex. It doesn't necessarily need to be. It could be a family arrangement that's not based on a relationship. He could just have one wife he has sex with, but the rest of the girls are, they're there. This is about people who have eugenic consciousness. This is not about the general population. This is about people who
fancy a social experiment, an unproven one. Does anybody else agree with you, Vincent?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess you need to find somebody who says, "Wow, Vincent, what a great idea!" You
Well,
know.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, once I'm on postband, but I'm going to start using that gay poly group to look for people.
Yeah,
And
but
I
these
just
gay
have to get the
people will
message
just,
out. I have to get the
only
message out. And
wanting to have sex with each other, not, have babies
yeah,
and
how do you know
surrogates.
that, Claire? How do you know that?
Well, the thing is, if you want to have babies, then you'll make sure that you're heterosexual, right?
Oh my
You
God,
don't
Claire,
want to be go
you're
gay and
very
think, oh,
stupid.
maybe I could
You're
have a
very stupid.
baby.
We already went through surrogacy. I'm tired of your inability to
You do
remember
know any gay men
anything
who apart
because
from LGBT.
it hasn't been promoted that way as a cult before.
Well, I mean, even amongst your circles, I would have thought, you would know if since you're gay and you're
Yeah,
you.
well, no, they do, but I want to promote. Okay, look, gay men are very much into perfecting things in a way. They gentrify neighborhoods, whatever the arts or whatever. They're all these things, and I'm saying instead of focusing all your attention on externals, turn your abilities toward breeding the race. And the better the heterosexuals you have, the better quality the homosexuals will be that are born into society. Someone is spamming your chat.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, not just gay people. I'm not saying just gay people should do this. I think that there should be polygamous family, all women, men and women, one man, many women, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Yeah, but people don't people sort of change their sexual taste? It's like, okay, maybe you're a teenager, it's probably best that you don't have sex with anybody who's a member of the opposite sex in case you knock them up. But as you get older, you might think, well, I do want to have children. So yeah, people's sexual taste change depending on what they want out of life, I
Okay,
guess.
then they can add someone else to the marriage or leave the marriage.
What'd you say?
They could add someone to the marriage. They could get a boyfriend on the side. They can leave the marriage.
Yeah, but then you're making the thing, the arrangement unstable, and then the kid will be a mixed up kid, with issues and all kinds of things because of the breakup of the marriage of his
Oh yeah,
parents.
I
I
know
mean,
because
that is the problem,
heterosexual
isn't it?
monogamists never break up, Claire. I know it's only polygamists, right? We're the only people on the earth that break up.
No, obviously
Yeah,
heterosexual
so what?
couples
So
break up.
why are
I
you
mean, that is the
assuming that there's going to
problem.
be more breakups between us than
Well,
between
abolish
people
no
like
fault
you?
divorce.
No, but Claire, you're acting like polygamy equals divorce. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean there's going to be more divorces amongst us. There's plenty
I
of
bet there
divorce.
will be more domestic violence and
No, Claire.
stuff
There's
like
plenty
that.
of there's plenty of monogamous domestic violence. Plenty of it. And I'm not trying. Look, I'm trying to establish polygamous cults with liberal people, not people like you. If you were in this arrangement, there would be domestic violence, there would be orgies, children walking in on orgies, rape, all of these things would be going on because, you're crazy. You believe in slavery, and you think the government should check in on their slaves, which is their capital. You're just, this is just this is just the way you are. So if you were running something, Claire, it would operate the way you're expressing it. But I know I wouldn't allow people like that in my family. I know that.
What you wouldn't have? Well, I mean, slavery is
No, I wouldn't
really
allow people into my family who are into domestic violence.
Well, how do you know I'm into domestic violence?
Well, if they ever committed domestic violence, they would have to leave the family.
Well, I'm sure all the bigger the family, the more likely it is to practice or suffer domestic violence. I mean, that's just a
You
fact.
don't know
Isn't it?
that. Where did that come from?
It is just a statistical
No.
probability. The more people you have living together, the more likely
It's
they
not
will
going to increase
come
the
into
rate of
conflict with each other, particularly if they're having sex with each other, because sex is a kind of thing that will make people more possessive and violent and emotional
Oh
towards
my
each
God,
other.
Claire, I'm talking about people who are not jealous, selfish, hypocritical people like you. I'm not talking about, Claire, you need to get through your head that I'm not talking about you. That's your problem.
I don't think I'm jealous or
No,
hypocritical and all the mean things that you said.
yeah, you
about
want to
me.
enforce monogamy on people. Echo, turn off the kitchen.
So, I mean, how are your own domestic arrangements?
Well, I'm in an open marriage. Unfortunately, I cannot be in a fully polygamous marriage. I can't have people living with me, which is what I really want. But it just doesn't work out with my husband like that. But I'm allowed to go out. I mean, I try to form polygamous systems the best I can outside my house, and I work hard at that. And I definitely have a goal in doing that. It's a little bit hard, in the situation that I'm in, but at least I'm trying and I'm getting some success. In that
I mean, why don't you?
I have multiple
Okay,
relationships.
but surely your husband isn't happy with your wanderings, is he? I mean, he'd rather have you, completely loyal, I guess, wouldn't he?
Yes, and I think it's a problem
But it's
because
understandable.
no, it's not to me, not to people who are polygamous. It's not understandable.
I mean, is the reason why you feel like that because you're younger than your husband?
No, he was monogamous when he was young.
So really, you would want somebody as promiscuous as you?
Yes.
But then that might, increase the chances of your being abandoned, I suppose. If you were, in a relationship with
Abandoned?
somebody.
No, if I'm abandoned, I have other relationships to fall back on. You have a spammer.
Not again. So, and you think society will be better with your arrangement
I
because
think
it will
that
have lower crime?
no. I think a polygamous elite will be able to culturally dominate society. That's what I think.
And what kind of society would be the result of this kind of arrangement?
A less jealous, less selfish society run by more evolved people.
To people who are just not jealous and not monogamous.
Yeah, and people who are purposely practicing eugenics. Purposely. This is part of a breeding program. Wait, hold on one second. Let me go to the bathroom.
All right. Oh, this is interesting, isn't it? I mean, I'm still trying to get my head round with this whole idea. And so, if Vincent gets his way, we will have lots of people who may not be very sure who their parents are. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. Are you? I mean, then that, there'll be lots of people with identity issues and maybe, I don't know, genetic. I think we need to know where we come from. I mean, there is a story, the tragedy of Oedipus Rex, right? And he didn't know who his dad or mum were, and so he ended up killing his father in a road rage incident and having sex with his mother. That was what Oedipus did. Because he didn't know who he was. He didn't know who his parents were. Because he was one of those, abandoned people brought up by some shepherd or something.
Tiffany said it's a very elite group I don't want it to be elite in that we tyrannize over people. I want it to be elite in that we naturally rise to the top of society. That's what I want. Everyone keeps trying to accuse me of being gay Hitler. I believe in democracy. I believe in a very secular, liberal society with all the human rights and freedoms that we have now. I just want the administrative class to be, I want the people who are at the top of society to be polygamous and polygamous eugenic cults.
Well, I mean, do you see there might be a problem, in inheritance? I mean, do you see that there might be legal problems when people want to, I don't know, leave the group and, get their slice of the property, their share. It's going to be,
Okay,
very...
but that happens in what is going on with this shit?
So, is there somebody who keeps turning the Hoover on? Is it coming on automatically or something?
It's the carpet cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
That happens.
Is that a person or a machine?
It's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
That happens in monogamous relationships too, and it might be more traumatizing because you lose half of your family rather than having one leave and then having 4 or 5 other people. You have a spammer again. I don't know why they're spamming your thing.
Okay.
DeFreak
I
asked,
have deleted. I have deleted most of it, but but I don't think you've quite worked it out. I sort of feel that there needs to be kind of diagrams and flowcharts and whatever, to say that what okay, you're trying to breed into existence people who are not sexually possessive.
yes.
That, yeah. And then, but then it means that you will get people who will be having a lot of unmarried sex
Without
children.
Birth control is part of this. Birth control.
But have you noticed that with a pill, there's actually more illegitimacy than less?
Well, that's...
And is illegitimacy degenerate?
They wouldn't be. Look, women are... Well, then let that be the curse of the monogamist. If you're not going to be in a polygamous system, then yeah, you can be abandoned by your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, and you can be in a big problem. I think that you have nowhere else to turn. So that should be a problem for the monogamous class. Then that would probably be one of the reasons why they can't. They wouldn't rise to the top. Hopefully they wouldn't. That's why I'm hoping polygamous families would rise to the top. We would, if anything did happen, if someone got pregnant, they have a whole family to take care of them, not just one guy that can leave them.
Yeah, but is a group, necessarily loyal to each other? I mean, the problem I see is that you have a household of these, men and women, and they have sex with each other, in various combinations, and I think this kind of situation would breed sexual rivalry, jealousy, and
Well,
and
then
and these are
they
people who might
no,
not
they
be,
would not.
very
Okay.
helpful to you when
Oh
when
God,
your
Claire.
your official partner dies
I
or
know if
leaves.
they're jealous people, they're not going to join them in a polygamous system. No person walks around like, I'm jealous and don't want my partner having sex with anyone, so I'm going to get into a polygamous marriage.
Yeah, but okay, you're saying these people would select themselves out of it. But maybe the people think, oh, it sounds fun. I'll go for it, and then they try it, and then they hate it, and then they
Okay,
have a
then leave.
kid, and they can't get out of it.
Well, then take a while before you have a kid. Make sure it's for you. We have birth control. Don't have a kid right away.
Hmm.
These are intelligent people that can solve problems, Claire.
I do think people are getting stupider and stupider.
No, but
I
I
mean, you
don't.
do know that
I'm
recent
not. This is
IQ
not for
has fallen
everyone.
14
This is not
points.
for everyone. This is for. You have a spammer. This is for intelligent, thoughtful, cooperative people.
Hmm.
Not for everyone.
But do you know any? Do you know any?
Well, I just started looking for them, so
Okay. Is there a website to look for these people? And maybe there's
no,
I don't know,
polyamory. I
polyamory
haven't done it.
dating.
I haven't done it. Okay, I haven't. I'm going to directly look for it and find it. Like let people know this is what I'm looking for. I haven't done it on that level yet. I've
Mhm.
talked about.
There's something called polyamory dating.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, these are people who would not mind being in a polygamous relationship, Claire. That's why there won't be fighting or
I bet they're
jealousy.
not looking for children.
How do you know that?
It's when you want children, then you think, aha, I'm not, I'm not doing this polyamory thing. But yes,
Oh,
when you
Claire.
just want to have lots of sex, and yeah, you'll do that.
No, no, this is about breeding and Claire, it's also this is the purposeful stated aim is to breed human beings is the stated aim of doing all of this.
But marriage
By
is
using people's by using people's need for love and sex, a certain kind of people's need for love and sex to guide society.
Do you have somebody in mind who is your hero of polyamory or heroine of polyamory? Is there
No.
somebody in?
I
Okay.
wish. I wish. I have to be my own to legalize it. And I'm very angry at conservatives because now the left took over. Okay, birth control everywhere, it was eugenics. That's all they talked about was eugenics. And the conservatives let it go and they let liberals take over the reproductive rights movement and they took everything about eugenics out of it and now just promote it as some kind of civil right without a deeper biological agenda. Okay, birth control has an agenda, is an agenda, and it should have remained an agenda, but you fought it so much and then you pushed that out of public consciousness. You push that out of public consciousness because the eugenicists had to go into the closet and hide. And so they took it over. And what I'm really pissed about, you have a spammer. I would like very much to what was I saying? I would like very much. What was I just saying?
Um, well, you're talking about eugenics, but okay.
Oh, I would very much like to be the person who legalizes polygamy and use it as a way to promote eugenic propaganda in society. But unfortunately, because people like you are not clever enough to use something like polygamy to promote eugenics, now the left is going to take it over and it's not going to be about eugenics at all. And it's just going to be about I don't know what it'll be about, but it won't be about eugenics. So I'm kind of pissed off that I don't know. Maybe I will be able to legalize it under the guise of eugenics, but
Well,
I mean,
I just don't see how it can be eugenic, because marriage is the most eugenic way of bringing
okay, we're not
it to
talking
being.
about no. This is just a small group that's doing this, Claire. Again, it's not for everyone. It's for people that are intelligent enough to be in a polygamous marriage and still carefully breed their children. Please stop assuming that I'm having like people with Down syndrome doing this. This is not a Down syndrome breeding program. It's for intelligent, conscientious people, okay?
So, how would you measure the success of this arrangement? I mean, would IQ be going up? I mean, would
Yeah,
that be,
the health,
what
the
are the
general
fruits
health,
of eugenics?
emotional stability, accomplishment of the bloodline.
And do you think you would ever want to be a father, Vincent?
If
Is this something that you
I
would
would
never
only do
consider,
it, I would only do it if I was in a stable polygamous marriage, because I don't want to wind up like a monogamous where I'm overstressed with so many kids and then uh uh I become resentful. I didn't want that to happen. I want multiple partners so that it's not overwhelming to have children.
but can't you see that if your kid, okay, you have a kid and it belongs to you and your partner, and there's just only two of you. I mean, there could be a lot of tensions already, but if there's a third adult there and that kid is not
Of the
his,
type of
then,
person like me, yeah, there's a a person who's like me, Claire. So keep that in mind. So what happens? You have a spammer. So what happens when I choose and they choose each other because we're both like me? What happens then, Claire?
well, okay, so have you ever met anyone like you?
I haven't looked for this before. And yes, I've met people, but I haven't like been talking about having kids with anyone.
Okay,
And
so
my arms are a little bit tied now because I'm in a marriage where I have to go outside of the house to find people. I can't bring them over. They can't live here. I mean, I'm handicapped.
yeah, but does your husband want children? He doesn't, does he?
No.
Right, so you can't, because if your partner doesn't want kids.
Well, I don't know. You don't know how fanatical I can be, Claire. I mean, if I have to,
Get pregnant. You
no,
have to get yourself knocked
no.
up.
I mean, if I could be a part-time lover in a polygamous marriage and we have children together, but I can't be there every day, then maybe that would work.
Hmm. But I mean, okay, so you're saying, whoever you invite into your home, the third adult, they'll be fine about your kid crying and
Then don't
teething.
they would no, Claire, this is someone that they choose me and I choose them. So if you're into crying babies, you're not coming to my house and marrying into my family. You have very stupid questions all the time. It would be obvious that I would not marry someone like that. You assume I'm so fucking retarded that I would like, do something. You know what? It's like saying, like, Claire, you'd be like, if you tried to hammer in a nail, you'd be like, whoa, and hit it with your finger. Like, no, I wouldn't do that, Claire, because I'm not dumb.
But how can you predict such events? You're talking about human
How
emotions.
do you, why, how do you predict that your monogamous marriage is going to be good?
Well,
Plenty,
we all know it's going to be difficult.
you have a spammer.
That's the thing. Everybody is sort of warned that, ooh, it's going to be hard. You're gonna get bored. They're gonna be really irritating, and,
Yeah,
and and you have to put up with it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And then
Yeah.
you become resentful and then you become a bitch and then you start treating your children like shit.
Well, that is kind of part and parcel of family life, I guess.
Not,
And
well,
if you
that needs
add
to
more
end.
people in, it's just gonna get
Oh,
worse.
so everyone should just be resentful, absolutely resentful, mind-bogglingly resentful of their monogamous marriage and children. That's how we're gonna raise a society. Look, society monogamy is fucked up. All the fucked up people, most of them come out of monogamy. All the trash, all the criminals, all these people that are a plague to society. Most of them came out of your system or their grandparents did. Maybe these days they're coming out of single mothers, but all the discontent that has plagued the world has come out of your family system.
Are you saying that your own childhood was such a system?
I had a mother, two stepmothers, and a stepfather, and then later on, when I was old, another stepfather.
Was that difficult for you?
Well, it was only difficult because they weren't all in a harmonious marriage. There was constant divorce if these were monogamous marriages that were not going very well or proceeding very well. So, it's not like I was in a loving polygamous family. I was in 3 or 4 bad monogamous families.
Right, and you're saying that if your various, step parents had been less jealous, then it would have been better for you, obviously. But and that's it. You think everything would be okay if people would just sort of not mind about their sex partner having sex with other people?
Well, there's a lot of people like that, Claire.
You don't know any, and the ones you
Yes,
know
no,
are not parents.
I know people who are polyamorous, definitely, absolutely.
But they're not parents.
Yeah, but there's parents who practice sex outside of marriage, and we're talking about like a new.
Yeah, they have to be so quiet
We're talking about
it.
a new thing, Claire. And you know what, Claire? If it all goes bad, it's okay because there's just a few of us. Okay, if our whole system goes bad, not all of society is going to go down because we're not like, forcing anything on people like you would.
I'm just saying, that was how it worked. I mean, obviously it's a burden. Marriage is a sacrifice. We're all going to get, fat and boring and irritating, and our partner's going to be disappointed with us and whatever. But it's kind of better the devil you know thing.
I don't think so. I think that leads to a very miserable life. I think making people miserable is a really bad idea.
Do you think the reason why you're gay is because of your unstable childhood?
No, I knew I was gay when I was 5. I knew I was gay.
Have you ever had sex with a woman?
No.
And you would never do such a thing?
No.
What do you find repulsive about women?
Well, what do you find repulsive about women?
I don't find women repulsive.
Sexually?
I don't find them repulsive sexually.
Well, you said that you had sex with a woman, so you're not a very good example, but you could ask a heterosexual woman what her disgust is with having sex with another woman. Like, it's just natural, innate. Like, you just don't want to touch their body.
Right. No, I mean, I don't have, any feelings of revulsion for men or women.
Yeah, I know, because you're obviously bisexual.
I think most people are like that. If they were being
Bisexual?
I think if they were being honest, I mean, I guess, in more socially conservative times, people wouldn't admit that, right?
Yeah, well, bisexuality is very common, much more common than anyone pretends it is.
Yeah, I did a marriage preparation course, and it was all about you kind of make this engaged couple do a survey, a questionnaire about their whatever, and identify problem areas, and the subject of past sexual experiences have come up, and they were saying, well, how many partners has this person had? Have they had a same-sex experience? And should I worry about it? And they were basically saying, as long as they don't do it again while they're, in a relationship with you, and obviously you have to trust them, and it's that kind of thing. Whatever people did before, they can, agree and actually not do it again. If they take their the commitment to a relationship seriously, and if they do, and that is what you need in any kind of relationship, even in this, polyamorous relationship. So if you want this polyamorous relationship to work, then everybody in it has to agree to all the rules, right? And the
Okay. Yeah.
and therefore, you might suddenly feel jealous, but
Claire,
you've
if they're
agreed to this
jealous, they're not
polyamorous
going
thing.
to marry into the family. You have a spammer, but Claire, you don't understand that if a person doesn't like polyamory, they're not going to get into a polyamorous relationship. It's impossible for you to understand that.
Yes, I do understand
No,
that
you don't,
people,
because you
there
keep
will be
bringing it
people who
up.
say, no way, I won't go anywhere near this relationship. I do understand that. But I'm saying there are people who think, well, it sounds all right. I'll give it a go. And
Okay, then
then they
stay on
discover
birth
they don't
control.
like it and they have a kid.
Okay, well, then, but okay, not that's not going to be going on with my people. Okay. Okay. I don't care what other people do. It's not going to be going on with my people. And that's why I believe that people who are like me would be able to reach the top of society, because we're not behaving the way you're saying to behave. We would
Okay.
behave.
Have there been any, science fiction, books about this? It
No.
sounds very much, Brave New World, that kind of thing.
Well, Brave New World featured free love. In Brave New World, monogamy was discouraged.
Wow, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. I've seen a few messages deleted. Okay, maybe it doesn't matter. They can post whatever they wanted to post later. Well, I'd be interested if you can find anyone who would agree with you, and that would make it more interesting. I guess at the moment we're just talking about theory and maybe just fantasy. In that you can't see that a three partner, three adult relationship is
People
going to
who
be
want
inherently
no,
unstable in terms of group dynamics.
if it was made up of people like you, it'd be very unstable, Claire.
Yeah, I suppose I can't.
Yeah, I know that, like, you wouldn't be able to do it, but other people can and do it.
But you don't know of any other. You don't really know of
Well, I
anyone
mean,
who's
no,
done
no, no.
it.
Claire, well, first of all, monogamy was the rule of how it had to be for a long time until recently. There is no allowance for polygamous marriage, so it's not like they are able to join in that. And this is a relatively new idea, Claire. I've seen it online. I've seen it in news feeds and things like that. Yes, I saw a gay throuple who had a kid. I did see that, but we're not, like, we're in the beginning phase of this. We're not, you have a spammer. We're not at like peak phase.
Thruple. The word just makes me laugh, I guess.
I know, because you're just a jealous, selfish bitch who would never engage in that.
I suppose to the extent that I might consider doing such a thing, I wouldn't sort of make it official. I think that would be the instinct of most people who think they want a bit more variety, but they don't want that variety to be sharing a home with them,
Okay, well then don't.
because that would be just too much for
Okay,
them to
well they
deal
won't be in
with.
my polygamous marriage. Okay, I don't. If other polygamists one are dumb and retarded and have Down syndrome, and this is how they want to run their lives, good for them. They're not getting to the top of society. Not in my polygamous system. Not anything to do with me is going to be behaving like this. No, none of the people are coming into the family. None of this.
How are you going to stop them from, saying, hey, I want this polyamory thing. Yeah, I may have a few, an extra chromosome, but how are you going to stop them?
By not
If they can
marrying
find
them.
somebody to have sex with them.
Well, they're not coming into my place.
Not coming into your polyamorous group.
No, they're not.
Okay. Okay. I really, maybe there will be a Hollywood movie about this sort of thing. I kind of, or documentary. There might be a few documentaries about this sort of thing. I'm sure there are by now. Have you seen any?
No.
I've seen.
Yeah, there's Sister Wives. That's about a polygamous Mormon family. Yes.
Okay. Have you any final words about, if any points you want to raise about the point?
I just want to say that, okay, I'm looking for a certain type of person. Okay, you want to amplify and breed a certain type of person, to replace the general population whom you are trying to reduce through birth control and sexual liberation. I would not allow the type of people that Claire's talking about into the group. You're specifically looking for people who aren't jealous, and you're specifically trying to practice eugenics. It's a eugenic cult, and all of these negative traits, domestic violence, camps, all of this stuff is just coming from the other side because that's the way they think. That's the way they perceive the world. If you are a person with negative intentions, you're going to read that into everything. So if you're the type of person that if you were doing this, you would run it in a camp and you would let domestic violence into your family, then I'm not talking about that. That's not me.
But people
And
don't let it in. I guess, it would happen, and then
why
people
would
would.
it happen if we've all chosen to be polygamous because we like polygamy?
Well, because people
Okay.
don't do what
Okay.
they say they do. They feel a bit different afterwards. I don't know.
Well, what about
They
people?
get angry,
What about
bitter.
people who? What about people who go into monogamous marriage and then are unhappy and wish they had been polygamous?
Well, because the option of being polygamous doesn't exist, I guess they're more likely to put up with it, right?
It does exist now. Polygamy exists.
But we don't. I mean, is there a sitcom about it? Yeah, I guess when they have a sitcom about
Okay.
polyamory, then I guess it's finally being pushed by the state.
Yeah, well, I think that's coming, and it's something. Okay, it's like the birth control movement. You don't have birth control. You don't know what's going to happen when you have birth control. People are going to act like this when you have birth control. Margaret Sanger, you don't know what's going to happen. Oh, no, if you do that, this is going to happen, and none of it happened. Okay, there was a point in her life where she had not legalized birth control and she was working. That's the point that I'm at right now. I haven't legalized polygamy, but I'm working towards it.
Yes, you do go for a lot of political campaigns, don't
Yeah, I
you? I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
before that, it was a no height laws. Have you abandoned that one?
No, I
Or are you
haven't.
still it? Okay.
I've just exhausted a lot of the knowledge, and there's not that much more to give. And we've gone through almost everything.
So your polyamory, would be polyamory as well as incestuous. So there would be a lot of, sexual variety or whatever in your
Yes.
groups. And you don't think it's going to adversely affect the next generation?
Well, not everyone's doing this, as I've already said. There's only special groups that are doing this.
And the special groups would be, I mean, is there a kind of exam you have to take before
No, you just have to
you're allowed?
marry. You just have to marry into the group.
Oh, so there'd be a kind of a ceremony, a legal contract or something?
Yeah, exactly. Just polygamous marriage.
Do you know of any um, polygamous marriage contracts?
They're illegal right now. They don't exist. Well, in Massachusetts, in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the town will recognize polygamous unions. It's coming. It's happening tiny. We're in the baby steps right now, but it's coming.
So in Massachusetts, they recognize polygamous unions. Are you sure?
No, just in Cambridge, just in the city of Cambridge.
Oh wow! When
Yeah,
did that happen?
but just recently.
Well, I suppose I will have to look up the legal implications of polygamous marriages, and it's only through seeing what such a grouping is allowed legally, and their rights against each other, that you can imagine how it's going to work or how it's not going to work. Okay. Well, maybe we can revisit this subject.
Okay. Yeah, but you got to stop assuming just like that I'm going to be bringing together the trash of the earth to do this. Like, if you just assume that, of course, if you assume any project is going to bring in trash, then it's not going to work, Claire.
Well, I can see how you can keep the trash out, because the
By
trash
not
will come
marrying
in.
them, by not marrying them.
Oh, so okay, so it's not just a matter of you have a flat share, and then your roommate, you have sex with your roommate, and then your roommate gets another roommate in, and you all have sex with him or her, and that's how it grows. Yes or no?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Well, perhaps one of these days there will be a sitcom about such a thing. I've seen it in the new Boston Post, and what does it say? Cambridge officially recognises polyamory and is dated March 10th, 2021. And I can't read. I can't read the whole thing. So it's two Massachusetts cities that officially recognise
Yes.
polyamory, Cambridge, and yeah, I can't read the rest because it's behind a paywall or something. Okay, so it's a domestic partnership. The draft okay, a previous version of the story included a provision that appeared in a draft version of the Cambridge Ordinance of polyamory, but was not included in the final version passed by the City Council. The draft version required that members of a domestic partnership are not in a domestic partnership outside this partnership, but that provision was removed before the vote. It's a very confusing article, so I don't really know
Yeah.
what it means. Yeah. So
All right,
maybe
I do have to
apologies.
go, but thank you for
Oh,
having me on, even though can be very exhausting talking to you.
all right then. Thank you for coming, and
Okay,
I wish you a good holiday season.
thank you. You too. All
Bye,
right, me
Vincent.
signing out.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Wow. Okay. Let me just tidy up a few more. Okay. Do we want to discuss the subjects? I guess I can't even highlight anybody posting in it, and nobody would want to post anything in it. Hmm. I mean, to be honest, I can't really. It's the children. I think, the children, how can you grow up stable in this sort of unstable household? And Vincent comes from different homes, or, with different partners of his, different parents. And I guess if you didn't come from a stable home, you might actually want one, or you might think it's not necessary. But the reason why people promote monogamy as the ideal is because I guess most of us hate change, and nothing can be more destabilizing to the child than lots of different partners from your parents, and moving home and moving school, and all the dislocations a child might suffer, which I imagine would be childhood traumas. So, what you see, what was obviously a whole person, looks okay and maybe might be acting normal. Um, what what we might be concerned about is the ability of this adult to, in turn, have his or her own legitimate children, and and start their own family, and create a stable environment for their offspring. And I suppose, as a nationalist, I have to think about these things rather than tolerate these dangerous social experiments. It's not like we haven't done enough of them in our time. We have um, made divorce no fault. We have legalized gay marriage. We have allowed surrogacy for couples of gay men if they wanted children. Elton John and his partner is a case in point. We don't know what kind of kid Elton John and his partner are going to have, how it's going to turn out. So it's too early to say, and I think there are already enough problems. I do take on board Vincent's point that only stable people would be allowed to join such polyamorous unions. But can it be certain that the people who do want to start these things are completely stable themselves? That's a few questions I have at the end for you. I won't drone on anymore. So thank you all for listening. I hope some issues have been um, highlighted enough, and I look forward to the next Koraniyule. Thank you all for coming by.